Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Trust that you are well of this glorious, glorious day. Got a lot to talk about, just like always. Want to make sure we get things going as quickly as possible. One of the things that really, as we're moving through uh, gladly almost the last 2 days of Pride Month. So maybe we don't have to see. Hang on a second here. Let me get this. Let me try to get this for you because this is one of the things that we're really, that we're really talking about here. Let's see. There it is. This right here. Um, this is. Let me back out of the way here if I can get out of the way, and I can. All right. Now this particular cartoon is a cartoon that this per wait, I can get my finger to the I can't because I'm doing there you go. I'm doing it wrong. This person here is obviously a member of the LGBTQ LMNOP plus uh, uh whatever. And this dude here over here is handing out a Bible. The the caption is do not or stop pushing your agenda down my throat. Now, this is what's happening normally. These folks here are screaming at it with a bullhorn, while this sort of meek, mild individual is handing out a Bible. This is what's been going on. Now, when anybody starts talking about that the LGBTQ movement is about acceptance, it's about love. You know what? With what's happening recently, I'm not buying it because we're seeing more and more of this. Let's see if I can get out of the way entirely so you can see. There's this is a little girl. It's a little girl putting money in the underwear of this. Looks like either this is the world's ugliest woman or a male this drag queen. And look at these adults. This woman is taking a picture. Those women, that person in the back there, this woman is taking a picture on her cell phone. Who's she going to send that to? These people up here, look at them. Look how happy they seem. Look at this woman saying how fun this is. And you're wondering why people are unhappy. This is why people are unhappy. Because frankly, most people don't give a rat's patoot what you do as long as it doesn't affect children. So if you can say that you're not grooming or there's not grooming going on, if you can say that with a straight face and actually believe it, um, the tooth fairy has visited your home sometime today. The tooth fairy has been to your home. That is just the truth. All right. One of the stories that I want to talk about is this story about Hunter Biden. Real quick, we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking uh, about Hunter Man, and what he seems to be getting away with. He definitely seems to be getting away with an awful lot. Even so much. There you go. That's him and his dad, President Biden, getting off of Air Force One, and I'm sure they just talked about just stuff, sports, whatever, recipes, yoga. I'm sure. But here you go. In a shocking twist of events, far left outlet, the New York Times. This is the New York Times, y'all. Admitted that claims made by the IRS whistleblowers are valid. Something mainstream media has been trying to avoid. Titled Competing Accounts of the Justice Department's Handling of Hunter Biden's Case, the New York Times independently fact-checked the IRS whistleblower claims, alleging that Biden Justice Department officials worked to redirect his agency's investigation into tax fraud by Hunter Biden. Despite burying his admission at the end of the article, the piece confirmed that the whistleblower was telling the truth. This, as Democrat-leaning outlets have already moved on from reporting about this damning situation involving the President of the United States and his son. The article gave an overview of the DOJ's investigation against Hunter Biden, which ultimately ended with him getting pretty much a sweetheart plea deal and for failing to pay taxes in 2017 and 18 and lying about whether he was an active drug user when he bought a gun in 2018. Let me stop there. A lot of the screaming and yelling about gun control is we need more intensive background checks. Okay, so the background check that you had then, this person just lied on the sheet, which is supposed to be a felony. Just lied on the sheet. Just lied. Are you a drug user? Nope. So these background checks are doing what? The Times laid out and answered the question, admitting that the corrupt DOJ played a hand in getting Hunter Biden a slap on the wrist. Here's what it said. Did David C. Weiss, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in Delaware, kept under Attorney General Merrick Garland to continue overseeing the inquiry, have full authority to bring charges against President Biden's son in California and in Washington if he wanted to? Had Mr. Weiss ever asked to be made a special counsel? Was the investigation truly insulated from political considerations? Well, that encounter has taken on new significance after a House Republican released testimony last week from a senior Internal Revenue Service investigator on the case that appeared to contradict Mr. Garland's assurances that Mr. Grassley and others that Mr. Weiss had all the freedom and authority he needed to pursue the case as he saw fit. The whistleblower, Gary Shapley, alleged that Weiss told multiple witnesses that the DOJ informed him that no charges would be brought against Hunter Biden. However, Attorney General Merrick Garland continued to claim that there has been no interference in the investigation, despite the two being on the same swanky White House event just days after Hunter Biden received his cushy deal. New York Times finally admitted that Weiss had the authority to pursue leads and lead the jurisdictions other than his own Delaware. Okay, here's your deal. If you believe that the Department of Justice put the kibosh on the investigation, then you have two brain cells and a working synapse. If you think that the DOJ didn't put the kibosh on the investigation, then either you're missing one of those brain cells or the synapse is misfiring. What do you think? Just write it down in the comments. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We do. We do. We do. We do. And we'd love to hear about what you have to say. All right. We are 340 some odd days away from the presidential election. And I really, these polls are coming out. Polls are saying this, polls are saying this. Now, you got to believe that we are way too far away for any of these polls to mean anything. Folks, there hasn't been the first primary. No one's cast a ballot for anybody because the ballots should be the best poll and the best indicator of who's going to win the nomination. And that's not even true until you get into the middle primaries. I know some of your states like to be number one, like to be first and early, and try to be a bellwether of what may happen. But as it turns out, you really can't tell until you get to Super Tuesday, whoever's left in Super Tuesday, how things are going to play out. But right now, new polling shows that former President Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis are deadlocked in a Republican presidential primary in the battleground state of Wisconsin. According to a Marquette University law school poll, DeSantis and Trump scored within 1 percentage point of each other on the full GOP primary ballot, with the governor garnering 30% of support and former President Trump garnering 31%. The survey also found that if the 2024 election were held today, DeSantis would outperform Trump in a matchup against President Joe Biden. Hypothetically, Biden would beat DeSantis by only 2 percentage points, 49 to 47%. However, against Trump, the 80-year-old president would come in first place by 9 percentage points, 52 to 43%. Both GOP presidential candidates come neck and neck within 1% of each other regarding favorability measures. 67% view DeSantis as a more favorable candidate, while 68% say the same of Trump. All right. Once cordial politicians, DeSantis and Trump aimed shots at one another this week after both Republicans hosted events in New Hampshire. The Florida governor vowed to actually build the border wall that Trump tried, but ultimately did not finish. At the same time, the former president accused DeSantis of supporting custom Social Security, Medicare, and other entitlement programs to tame federal spending. The two candidates offered contrasting events, with DeSantis offering to take reporters' questions and on Trump offering to speak to the crowd for more than an hour. DeSantis accused Trump of breaking his promise to drain the swamp and saying it's worse than ever now. And that's probably true. Meanwhile, Trump claimed that DeSantis was forced to settle for a second place in the primary. The governor also accused Trump of failing to produce the massive red wave Republicans were promised in November's midterm election. However, Trump's loyal following seems to grow stronger as the left continues its political witch hunt against him. And this is what's really happening. This is what we have to be able to talk about here on the Morning Report. And we're going to, whether you like it or not. We're going to talk about it. I kind of understand why people are uber loyal to President Trump. He got a raw deal. Absolutely horrible deal. During his presidency, for sure. And afterwards, horrible. Absolutely horrible. The left is terrified of Trump, and they're more terrified of Trump supporters. That's very true. And right now, I think that I do. And if you agree with me or disagree with me, please write it down in the comments. Please write it down in the comments. I think that the left is equally afraid of Ron DeSantis. This is the mistake. This is the mistake that a lot of Republicans are making right now. If you see the kind of hate that Ron DeSantis stirs up in the left, they're equally afraid of him. And I'll tell you why they're afraid of him. Now, some of you may not buy this, but I've thought about it for a long time. DeSantis is a cleaner, slicker, younger, more erudite, more well-spoken version of Trump. The voting record. And a record of, again, also a record of executive leadership. Not the presidency for sure, but a governorship, and a governorship that was under intense scrutiny all through COVID. Just like the president. The left is terrified of this dude. This dude is a social conservative. And is willing to do the hard thing. One of the swings against Ron DeSantis from Trump is that he's looking at cutting Social Security and Medicare to help tame the budget. Yes. Yes. Most certainly. The former president accused DeSantis of supporting cuts to Social Security and Medicare and other entitlement programs to tame federal spending. Yes. This is what we've been saying all along. President Trump, if he wins the nomination, I'm voting for sure. President Trump is agnostic to some of these really hard concepts. Yes, Social Security is bloated, so is Medicare, and so are a lot of other entitlement programs. They cannot continue in the fashion that they've been going. Not popular thing to say, and not even popular things to say about around Republicans. Republicans who are saying we got to get rid of cut the spending, blah blah blah. Are you ready? Well, here's somebody who is saying we're going to look into these. We're going to look into all these programs and see where we can root out waste, and we can root out fraud, and we can make these budgets smaller. Are we really ready? This is why we have to have these conversations and not just put on the jersey. Like I said before, put on your red jersey or your blue jersey and go to battle just because. It's about policy. Is it a good idea to look into Social Security and Medicare and some of these other entitlement programs? Is it a good idea? Or should they just continue to remain their bloated, uncontrollable self? Is it a good idea to look at military spending? Is it a good idea to look at military spending, especially when an accounting error means that $6.2 billion ends up in the Ukraine? We don't know how that happened. You don't know how you misplaced $6.2 billion? You don't know how that got there? It was an accounting error? If you had a $6.2 billion accounting error in the public sector, you'd be so fired and so sued and so charged with embezzlement that it would be hard, that you'd be hard to see you. You'd be under so much weight. You'd be crushed to such a degree, it would be hard to find you. A bloodhound couldn't pick up on your scent. But the Pentagon's like, oh, we lost $6.2 billion. They have it. Oh, that's good. $6.2 billion. Not $1 million. Not $620,000. Not $6.20. 6.2 billion. 6,200,000,000 dollars. This is stuff we have to talk about. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. Don't you think? That's all there is to it. All right. We got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. Thank you ever so much for spending some time here with us on the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report, again, is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody. Make sure I get this. Go out there and learn something, love somebody. And for goodness sake, y'all take care of yourself. Be well now. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.